Hello and welcome to the What's Good with Gil and Larry podcast on the Box Office Buzz 302 channel. I am here with my main man, Larry Loper. I am Gil and Larry. Listen, we got to get into it. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. The NFL is starting to get it rolling a little bit. We got to talk about a trade that happened after our show last week. You might want to talk about that, Larry. But and we'll end with the WWE and the passing of a hardcore legend. But let's start with the NBA. Let's start with what happened yesterday. And let's just say, if you don't think that the fix was in, I got a bridge I can sell you real cheap, because the lottery happened last night and the teams that had the worst records weren't even close to getting the number one pick. It was Dallas, San Antonio, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm just saying, bro. 1%. They had a 1% chance.
1.8. Let's 1.8.
I'm sorry, 1.8. Okay. Less than 2% chance of getting the number one pick. And Dallas, man, you talked on air, off air about this, right? And I said I thought it might have been either Philly or what's the other team? I said Philly. I'm gonna say Philly. I can't think of the second team. And then you said, well, I think it might be San Antonio.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, man, that would be awesome. Dallas was not in my thought processes at all. Not Dallas. I was hoping that he didn't go to Washington because I just feel like it's a wasted pick. And Brooklyn. I didn't want to go to Brooklyn. I thought Brooklyn had a better team.
That's not nice. I was hoping Brooklyn.
Yeah,
but I didn't want him to go to Washington, Charlotte, or the Jazz.
Yeah. That's so for Dallas, though, man, Dallas, a playoff team. They got rid of their franchise player to possibly replace him with a franchise player, right? Because Cooper Flag is supposed to be that guy. You get the player that you wanted Luka to always be. I don't think you're going to get the point production as you're going to do what Luka was, because Luka's giving you just ain't going to get that. Cooper Flag's going to be in my opinion, he might be a great player. He'll be a good pro. I don't know about great yet, but I'll say good, right? But he's not going to give you Luka numbers. I promise he's not doing that, because of the fact that Luka had the ball so much. He was the point guard. You know what I mean? The offense ran through Luka. I don't see the offense going through Cooper, but I think he could be a huge asset to what they're doing. Plus, he plays defense. So I'll take a player any day that's going to play both sides. And he's a young man. He's young. And he got the goods. He plays with heart. Just a lot of upside to this kid. I mean, he came in as that guy, and he was impressive at Duke. He was impressive. So for Dallas to get that, Nico looks like the big. If that ain't not a job saver right there, that's a job, and it justified the ticket sales. Because as soon as they traded Luka, the price for the season tickets went up. It went up. So they're like, what?
Yeah, I wonder why that was. I wonder why you trade your best player and then you make your tickets go up.
Bro, I'm just saying. If you look at the future, at the time we're ragging on them about the trade. Oh my God, the banners are burning, the jerseys are on fire. His head is on a guillotine ready to be taken off, right? And you get the number one pick. Ooh, that calms a lot of fires down in Dallas. It just seems ironic that you trade your franchise player off and you get the number one ball. I don't know, Gil. I'm just saying, man.
I think you do. Gil. I think you do know, and we don't work for the association, so we can say exactly what we're thinking. Exactly. It was so mysterious and so unbelievable that trade happened and nobody knew about it. Nobody heard about it. Yet it needed league approval to go through. Almost like there was, like the commissioner said, listen, we make this deal happen it's it's good for arguably the most popular team in the league in the second biggest market, and we will do you a solid later in the year. And they get the number one pick, 1.8% chance, and you get the number one pick. And what I was worried about with Cooper Flag was he was going to go to a team and have to be that guy right away.
Yes.
Now, not only is he not the two, he's the three. He's the three.
Man, he sets you up, like you said, big market, big money. It's just a win-win for the league. It's a business, man. At the end of the day, it's a business. You know, we can get caught up in all the stats, the players, and all that, but at the end of the day, in the beginning of it, it is a business. So there's no mystery that that man went to a big market. You're not gonna waste his talent in Charlotte, bro. You're not gonna waste his talent. And no disrespect, Brooklyn could get it done because it is, it is a big market in New York, right? But you're not gonna send him to Washington. No, that's right now. Washington is the basketball graveyard.
Or
Okay?
or Utah.
Or Utah. No. It worked back in John Stockton era because they just had that type of team and they built a strong team back then, right? But that is not the mark you want to send Cooper Flag to coming in as a rookie. No. Dallas, I'm just saying, man, some pockets got greased and some deals were made prior to that Luka trade being done, and that's why he was so easy to pull that trigger. Yeah, we could talk about it. Okay, I'm not affiliated with the NBA nor anybody. I'm not Stephen A. I'm not getting a big $90 million pay check from Disney for me to watch what I'm going to say. We know, and anybody that got half a brain knows that it was the fix, man. Straight up. 1.8% is nothing. You talking about you got the number one ball? Nah. Feel sorry for Charlotte. Feel sorry for Washington. Feel sorry for all the teams that tanked to go get that guy because, unfortunately, business talks and you know what else walks. There was a lot of it.
What do you think of, because I saw on social media today, people were saying, why doesn't the NFL do a lottery? Why do they just have it that
Because of, I
the
believe,
worst teams pick the highest? They said that if you did a lottery, then it wouldn't be worth tanking because there's no guarantee you get the top pick.
I like the way the NFL does it. I like the way the NFL does it, man.
So you like the worst teams being guaranteed those high picks unless there's a trade.
In the NFL, it works. In the NFL, I think that system works. In the NBA, I don't believe that will work in the NBA because look how both. Think about it. Let's be honest. Look at it. In the NFL, one, it's a shorter season.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have key players sitting out because they're trying to for their longevity of their careers. Okay, so every Sunday, the best team is going to. You could be the worst team. You could beat the best team. That's just the parody of football. It works that way, right? So them tanking intentionally, yeah, you could say it, but not really. Because we didn't see instances like New England was supposed to be tanking, right?
And then they won that
Mayo,
last game, and it cost them number one pick.
Right. And Mayo said, forget you. I see it coming down the pipe. We're going to play. I don't believe in tanking. Voila. Right? NBA is totally different. You got big league players sitting down, just rest. You got guys like Embiid saying, I'm not going to play a back-to-back. In the beginning of the season, before the ball even went up, people playing way too much money. Look at the All-Star games, trash. It's just a lot of variables where you could see an NBA team not giving no effort. So I like the way the lottery is because, once again, if the Washington, which had a terrible season, they gave up. They gave up after All-Star break. They really gave up, right? They get the number one pick. Now you stock all these picks and number ones up because every year you just like, okay, I'm just going to stock up. No, it takes that out. It takes it out. So you don't know who's going to get what. I love that about the NBA because it works in the NBA. I don't think it could work in the NFL. I wouldn't want it to work in the NFL. It's just a whole different system, a whole different way to run things over there. That's why I don't know.
they don't tank in the NFL.
No.
That's the difference. The
No.
NBA tanks all throughout the year.
Yeah.
They do. The NFL, they don't tank. When they're guaranteed the number one, they go out and they try and win that last game. Look at what Lovie Smith did with the Houston Texans a few
Yeah.
years ago. They were going to have the number one pick, and they made a miraculous play to send it to overtime, and then they went in overtime, and they wind up getting the number two pick.
Yep.
Carolina wind up getting number one, and Chicago got number one, and Chicago traded it to Carolina, which really worked out for the Texans because they wind up drafting C.J. Stroud, which was the better of the two quarterbacks. But they were in line to have the number one pick, but they didn't. That last game of the year, you can't tell these guys, when there's going to be at minimum a third of the roster turnover by the following year and a bunch of guys retiring. You can't tell these guys to tank because this might be their last year. You can't do it. You don't have an entire off season just to tank for what? For a higher draft pick? They don't think like that. It's just a different mentality. So I agree with you. I don't think the lottery would be good at all. At all.
No.
And then you would be getting teams like Philly and Kansas City possibly picking in the top 10 after being in the Super Bowl previous year.
No, you don't award. I think it's more fair. It's more fair, and that's why I think the turnaround in the NFL is what it is. Where these teams that are bottom feeders, and it happens in NFL. Kansas City for a time there was bad. Before New England went on their Super Bowl run, they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So they had time to rebuild their rosters, get the picks, and you rebuild it to the point where that number one seed will end up being hopefully a 32. Tennessee could be the number one pick now, but if they build it the right way around a franchise quarterback, some key pieces, they could be playing for a Super Bowl in 5-6 years. That's just the way the NFL is.
Maybe less than that. Yeah. I mean, some of these teams like overnight. Look at Washington overnight.
Exactly, like Washington
overnight.
Yeah, overnight. Yup. So I love the way the NFL system is when it comes to that. I don't agree with the NBA because of I don't believe in just not playing, man. You make a lot of money, man. You make a lot of money, man, to go out there and do what you do.
They make more. The NBA makes more than the NFL player salary wise.
Yes, thanks to the collective bargaining. They're aggressive with the TV deals. Silverman is great in that. He's great in that. Silver is great in that. But once again, it's just, I guess it's the way it is, man. It's the way it is in the NBA. I'm an NBA fan, and some things I just don't agree with. And we always gonna go back to that conversation of generations. I'll always go back to the 90s and prior to that, when these guys really play hard and it was a different type of ball. And they didn't get the salaries that these guys, like you'll hear all the old timers say, I was making the money these guys are making, or I was in the league the way you could do all that. Oh my God, I probably averaged 40 in this league. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah and no. We don't know.
Right. And plus the other thing, getting back to the draft and the lottery, we said this, you and I said this off air, that the NBA draft this year is one player. It's Cooper Flagg.
That's it.
People got to look it up to see who's top 10 and things like that, like player wise. With the NFL, especially those teams that are picking later in the draft, like later in the first round or whatnot, picks 20 and up, most of them have quarterbacks. So quarterbacks get picked early. Mm-hmm. So if you have an established quarterback already, then you could pick best player, in a skilled position or wherever. Where a bad team that's picking top 10, they really got to focus on quarterback and stuff like that. Because if you notice, a lot of these teams that are picking top 10, they're the same teams. Chicago's always in it. Jacksonville's always in it. The Raiders are always in it. Cleveland is always in it. The Giants are always in it. The same 5-6 teams are always picking in the top 10. They don't have, most of them don't either have established quarterbacks, good head coaches, or both. The Giants go through head coaches like toilet paper.
You're right
Look
about
at how
that.
many coaches they've been through since Coughlin.
You're right about that, man. You're right about that. And then with Coughlin, he had stability at the quarterback position.
Yep.
So he was able
And
to
Eli.
get the other pieces, you know what I mean? So it starts, like you said, starts with that quarterback. That's why that quarterback, once again, that's why they make so much money, as they should. You know what I mean? That's the cornerstone of what you're building around is your quarterback. Because once you get that piece, then in the draft, obviously, if I'm a bad team, then I can start addressing positions that's going to be able to put me in that position to win. Trenches first. Trenches first. I'm going to make sure I get some beef up on that O-line, address the defensive line, and then I go get me some pretty cars and some things on the side. I go give me the toys, the receivers, give me a nice little running back, make sure I give me a strong some safeties and some corners, but that's where it's going to start at. But it starts with that key component of having a quarterback.
100%. So let's get into the NBA playoffs.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with your team, man. They're up 3-1. And the Celtics' best player is
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Out. No,
talk
Jason
to me.
Tatum, not even for the series. No Jason Tatum for all of next year.
No, he's done. He's done. And
he tore his Achilles, his right Achilles. He is going to be out a minimum a year.
Man.
On a non-contact play. And it looks like your Knicks. Yep, there's the play right there.
There, man. So
there it is.
You know what? And first and foremost, man, I hate to see a player this caliber go down injury this severe. So I don't wish no bad.
It hurts the league when that happens.
It really does, man. I don't wish no bad on that man because he's a great competitor, and I love to see the great ones play. I really do. So I really feel for him, man. He was having an awesome game. I mean, awesome game. He was killing us, man. He really was. He was aggressive. He came out like I thought that your key players should have came out. Him and Brunson neck and neck. They was going at it, neck and neck. And for him to lose, we knew what it was when it went down. I knew what it was. When you go down, you in that much pain, you already know what it is. Blown Achilles. It was like you said, it was a non-contact play. You know what that is. You hope that it ain't, but you know. So once I'm not going to put the fork in them yet because they have pieces. They have pieces. Now it's two ways you can go about this. You could go in there and you could go in there and you could rally over your loss comrade. And I'm expecting a big game out of Brown. I'm expecting Brown to really step up. They home, they shoot a lot of threes. So they shot
a lot of threes yesterday.
They did. They made a lot of them too.
Well, two guys made them.
Yeah.
White and Tatum.
But you got that dude Pritchard. If Porzingis comes to play, you still got the key piece of Porzingis. He hasn't been there, so I'm not predicting him to be there. And I just think that we got the killer in us, man. I think we got this guy right here, this guy named Jalen Brown. I think we got the killer, and I think he understands what's at stake. I think that Tibbs and them understand what's at stake, and I don't want that going back to New York. I think that the boss is going to come out and they're going to play strong, but I think that this team right here has the ability to go in there and calm whatever they're going to do, man. Because you're missing a key component that's hard. That you're missing about 20, 30 points at your lineup, man. That's hard to combat. I'm just being cautious because I don't want to be like Stephen A. and the rest of my Nick, diehard Nick fans. I'm a diehard Nick fan, and I don't want to curse us before we up there putting them banners up. Okay, so
I'll do it for you.
Okay, you do it for me, to Gil.
I'm not a Knicks fan, but I want them to win the series. They're going to win the series. Boston is not going to win 3 games in a row without their best player. They're not doing it. If the Knicks don't win in 5, they're going to win in 6. It's not going to 7. It's not.
So we get a classic showdown then. We have that rivalry we had in the 90s, man. We got the new blood of the Indiana Pacers because they have won. It's official, Gil. 114-105. The Indiana Pacers are now in the Eastern Conference Finals. Shout out to them. Shout out to Halliburton, man. The most underrated player who didn't get his flowers. So he put on the show. He led them today with 31 points. He was masterful. He was masterful. He hit big shots. He kept the flow right. And they went up there. They took a 19-point lead, and they took all that Cleveland could give them. All Cleveland could shoot at them. They took them bullets, and they came back, and they had a big old round clip, and they came out firing. Okay? They came out firing. They took their best shot, and they came back and punched them back in the face. The better team went away. The better team went to the finals. They had a strong team. They were physical. They played smart. They played well. They played smart ball. They didn't turn over as much. You know, it was just a great series, man. They really, and then they beat them boys by 41. Me and you talked about it. There was about 41 at halftime. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
As a semifinal game, you're down by 41 at halftime, bro. Unexcusable. So they took their spirit that game.
Mm-hmm. They took their soul.
Yeah, it was done. They took everything out of them. So now the big question, and it's going to be over Donovan Mitchell's head, is going to be over that whole franchise. That y'all led the league this year in the East Coast and Eastern Conference with wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you seem to just be a good you're a good regular season team, not a great postseason team.
Well, to be fair, what will lessen the blow is the fact that Boston's going to lose. So, you know, everyone was saying Eastern Conference Finals was going to be Cleveland and Boston, but Boston and Cleveland both are going to lose this round.
Wow, who would have thought, man? That
so the
New York Knicks
home court in the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's going to be pandemonium in New York right now, man. Right now, it's great to be a New York fan in general. Look at us, man. We got the Knicks go to the finals. We got the Mets and the Dodgers. Mets and the Yankees playing great baseball. They're both on top of their divisions right now. Mm-hmm. Man, that Subway Series is going to be crazy this year when the Mets play the Yankees, man.
And the Mets have the second best record in the entire
league. Yeah. I think is it still Dodgers has the number one?
Yes, by like half a game.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Oh, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So,
it's like the 90s, you know, it feels like the 90s when in 94 it was the Eastern Conference Finals with the Knicks and the Pacers. I was a senior in high school, and then in 95 they had the rematch, and this time the Pacers won, and you know, Ewing missed that wide open.
Yeah.
That was the last game Pat Riley coached for the Knicks.
Yep.
And then a few years later in 99, the Knicks beat Indiana. It wasn't in the Eastern Conference Finals though, but they beat them. I think it was the semis because they wound up playing Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals and beat them. That's the year that the Knicks played San Antonio.
We wasn't beating them.
And then the very next year, it was Indiana and New York in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Indiana won.
Yep.
Played the Lakers.
Y'all play the Lakers. Yep.
Yeah. So
we got history with these guys, man.
And they beat you last year.
Yeah, they beat us last year. Yeah. I think that's the year when I think Brunson was hurt that year. I think Brunson got hurt.
A lot of guys were hurt.
Yeah,
remember?
It
was like every game, one more guy was getting hurt.
Yeah. So now we got a fully stacked roster. They got a fully stacked roster. It's going to be a great series. Oh, it's going to be a great series, man. It's going to be a great series, man. And it's crazy because you got two defensive-minded coaches, Rick Carlisle and Tibb. Shout out to Tibb, man. Tibb did something that no other coach could do, man. He made his winners. Jalen Brunson, I love the way he plays, man. So fundamentally sound, not flashy. He just goes get his buckets. He's always he's even kill, you know, not too high, not too low. It's a Villanova thing, the Villanova guys, you know.
And his father is on the coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
That's his father on the bench.
Yep, Rick Brunson. Yep.
Rick Brunson.
Yeah, because that's when Wisco had a big issue when they got traded. I think it was with Dante
Mm.
DiVincenzo. Yo, about his, him and his dad got into it because he was like, yo, that was your move. You made that move where they traded me, which it worked out for both of y'all, man. Look, you're in Minnesota, which
Yeah,
both
look
trades
at
make
Minnesota.
sense.
They're up 3-1
But
now.
man, listen, physical. It makes sense. When me and you talked about it, when that trade went down with Cat going over to New York, and then they get and Julius Randle and DiVincenzo, right?
Hmm.
We questioned it because we was like, well, man, Minnesota was only like you was only like you was right there.
Yeah.
Was it too early to break it up? Right? They knew what we knew. They needed to be physical. Okay. They in Minnesota they just needed a physical body. I told you Julius Randle was the key to that series, man. Because he's been playing like that guy. So at times Ant-Man had to feed off of Julius Randle. He just needs somebody that's going to be consistently aggressive.
Hmm.
At times Cat wasn't aggressive, right? He played the
Hmm.
Rudy Goldberg role, man. Rudy Goldberg. Yeah, he was. I told you. I said the Lakers series, yeah. That last game he came to life, had a great series. Why couldn't he be consistently doing that, right? Because he's soft. He's soft. I already knew that Draymond and them boys in Golden State was not going to let him. They're not going to let Rudy Gobert beat them. I already knew that. Okay. So you needed a Julius Randle to step up because he's been physical. He's been matching the physicality. You can see when he's going against Draymond. Not too many people really get physical with Draymond. He's getting physical with Draymond. He's showing you that though I'm better than you offensively, right? He's giving them a lot. And then in the second half, Ant-Man been Ant-Man. Ant-Man's been Ant-Man. He's been a
Well,
Marvel
and
superhero.
also, I mean, to be fair, I picked Minnesota to beat Golden State anyway. But after game one, there was no Steph.
No Steph. And yes, we got to make that known that I don't know if Golden State would still beat Minnesota with Steph, but it would have been a way more interesting series because you just can't negate what Stephen Curry does. And they feed off of them. That's their prime score right there, man. So I don't know. With him and Jimmy buckets, I don't know. It could have been a whole different series, man, because he opens up the floor.
Mm-hmm.
He opens up the floor. He's consistently that guy that can make the big shot when you need that big shot. Okay. So it's a totally different series with him in the lineup, man. It's crazy that he blew his hammy the first game.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking about OKC Denver? That seems to be the
I still sticking with OKC. They showed me something the last game. It was a grit game. They had to play Denver's style of ball, and they beat Denver playing their style of ball. Now you go back to OKC.
It's
Right?
tonight, right?
It's
It's
tonight. It's tonight. You have to go and you have to handle business at home. You have to go handle business at home. I'm not saying you can't go back to Denver and push it to game 7, but today, right here is a critical game. You have to go out there and play y'all brand of ball and just blow these balls out. Because I think they are the better team.
mm-hmm.
I think they are the better team. For the love of me, I don't know what has caused them to lose the 2 games they lost. Because both the games they lost were close games. They didn't lose.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get beat. They blew them out when they beat them. But their loss was close, and I just don't know what the factors of the loss was. You know what I mean? Because you can say because it wasn't even Joker. Joker didn't kill him in them 2 games.
The
Aaron
last
Gordon hit a big
he
shot.
hasn't, he hasn't been great the last 3.
Nah, he hasn't. He hasn't. And I mean, Aaron Gordon had some nice games.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Porter had some nice games. So I don't know, man. I know I'm like a pinpoint. I could pinpoint and say what team is doing what in order to negate the other team. But in this series, I don't know why OKC has been getting beat by Denver. The 2 games that have been getting beat. It's not effort. I don't think it's shot selection. I don't know. I think Holmgren needs to step up. I think the 7-footer needs to step up.
All right, let's shift to the NHL. The one thing about the NHL,
Yeah, man.
no blowouts. The NBA, we're giving all this credit to the NBA, and it's really the Knicks, to be honest. It's the Knicks series, and all right, maybe Denver and OKC, but there have been blowout games too, and we were talking. Cleveland and Indiana the other night. But that doesn't happen in the NHL. You might have a team up 3-0, and that team might lose 4-3. As a final score. I'm disappointed. Washington is down, I think 3-1 now.
They are.
Series. That is not good. My hope for Ovechkin to cap off his career. Not that his career is over, but they did have the best record in the East, and being down 3-1, I just don't see them winning.
I don't either. It's going to be hard. You talking about running off
3 games? I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Winnipeg Jets are losing their series.
They're 2-1. They're down 2-1, and they're down 2-1 today. It's 2-1 right now, and Dallas is up 2-1.
Mm-hmm. So if Dallas holds on and they win this game, they're going to be up 3-1 against Winnipeg, and Winnipeg has the best record in the entire league.
Yeah.
So
it's their history, bro.
It's like Cleveland and Boston, in the NBA.
Yeah.
The top seeds, but that's hockey. That's hockey for you. And Toronto is tied, I believe.
Tied up.
Series.
Yep. 2-2. Panthers went out there, handle business, and Toronto handle business on their ice.
They're
Panthers.
Bobrovsky, the goaltender.
Oh man, he been getting hammered.
Chuck. Oh man, they can play, boy.
Yeah.
Until the champs are out, and you always kind of feel like Toronto's going to choke it.
Yeah.
You always feel like every year they're going to be up in a series and they're going to choke it away. They were up 2-0, and now it's tied.
That was tied. So momentum was shifted back to Florida, man.
Yep.
So, and then with the Toronto, they always got that thought of here we go again.
Yeah, you can feel it. They get tight.
They get tight. So the Panthers right now got momentum. So I'm curious to see how this next game gonna go, because the Panthers going there and win that next game, man, might be over for Toronto, because I think they're just gonna get tight.
Pivotal game 5.
And then Edmonton is pit the smackdown on Golden Knights, man.
Good.
Yeah.
That's another good series though.
Yeah. So you're not chalking it up. It's 3-1. You're not chalking it up.
No. I'm not chalking that series up, but I'm rooting for Edmonton. I'm rooting for them.
Wow. So you think the Golden Knights can come back and win 4 straight?
I think they
3 straight.
It's been done. I kind of just feel like I'm gonna wait till the Golden Knights are eliminated before I move on mentally with them.
Okay.
It's different with some other teams when you're up 3-1 and the best player on the team that's got to win 3 in a row isn't playing, whether it's the NBA or NHL. I just feel like the Golden Knights, they're still intact. They can still. It's one of those things where they just got to worry about the next game, because when you're up 3-1, you're thinking, all right, we'll get it in 5.
Right.
Then you don't get it in 5. Well, now there's pressure to do it in 6. If you don't do it in 6, you're tight game 7, because you don't want to blow this thing. So I think if the Golden Knights win game 5, they can at least push it to a game 7. Maybe they don't win the series, but they can push it to a game 7. We saw in the finals last year, Florida was up 3-0.
Yep.
It took them 7 games to win that.
It sure did.
It's not that far-fetched. I think Edmonton will probably win the series because they're up 3-1, but I'm gonna kind of wait before I feel comfortable saying, "Oh, it's over." Like with the Knicks and the Celtics, I'm saying it's over. Don't be scared. If you're scared, get a dog. For you, get another dog. Okay, because you guys are gonna win. Maybe you don't win it in Boston this next game, but you're gonna win it in if you don't win in 5, you're gonna win in 6.
And that came from Gil.
Yeah, and
he's not a Knicks fan.
I'm not going on a big limb saying that either. But the Knicks were gonna win yesterday anyway, whether Tatum got hurt or didn't get hurt.
That's a fact.
They were gonna win.
That's a fact.
that was just the, I don't want to say the cherry on top because it sounds mean, but that was the exclamation point that the series is over. The Celtics are over, and now they're going to have cap problems, and they're not
Yeah,
going to have Tatum. So I think the Celtics era that has been the last few years, I think they're
yeah.
reconstruct that team. I mean, they got two guys that are making a gazillion
Oh
dollars.
my goodness. Yeah, yeah, man.
A
So
zillion dollars. They're
yeah,
probably going to have to move off of White or Holiday or both Porzingis. If they're
yeah,
going to keep, if
Porzingis
they're
going.
going to
Yeah,
keep
they gonna move Porzingis.
Tatum and Brown, they're going to have to move, a bunch of guys,
Yeah,
not one, a bunch, and it's going to be either Porzingis, Holiday, or White
yeah.
is going to leave too, for sure. So. All right, let's transition to the NFL. So this past weekend were mini camp for rookie mini camp. You can't get too much into it because it's no pads. It's very limited. They're going at half speed. There's no real contact. So for people to say such and such looked really good or such and such looked bad, it's kind of, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes. Now, after our show last week, there was a big trade. Your boy Jerry went out there and
Yes, sir.
got himself a player.
Yes, sir.
Did he get himself a player or a problem?
I mean, look, man.
Which
I'm
piece?
gonna let y'all know that in Dallas we have a big history of having problems, but we still get the best out the player. All right, that's your Jerry world, man. Listen, Michael Irvin are going on. We got offensive linemen. We got all types of problems, man. We got people on drugs. We got people at strip clubs. We got people beating up their wives. We got a lot of things going on in Dallas. But on that field, you still got the maximum effort out the player. We got George Pickens. Yes, he's a problem. Yes, he's a diva. Yes, he's going to cry because he feels he should get the ball. Okay, buddy. Guess what? In Dallas, we're going to get you the ball. All right, don't worry about that, okay? We brought you over to get another weapon. Now you got CeeDee Lamb, you got George Pickens. Pick your poison, my man. Listen, I'm telling you right now, it makes sense. The draft I gave it, at the time, I think I gave it a C, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it an A now.
Are we talking about like the whole off season or?
No, the heck no. We sound like our coach.
Well, just remember this
No.
trade is
No.
not part of the draft.
No,
So
I know. I'm just saying, but the draft picks make sense now. It makes sense why you went that route. We got an offensive lineman. At first, I questioned it, but that makes sense. Yes. Go in the trenches. We address a defensive issue. Makes sense. We got a cornerback. Made sense. And we got the receiver because my whole thing was, why didn't we get a receiver to help out CeeDee Lamb?
And you also got a running back.
And we got a running back.
You got Jaden Blue.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be like the Elliott and what's his name coming again, the guy that's in Tennessee.
Yeah, Pollard. Tony Pollard. Yep. So now we got all the elements. That my only question is the coach. That's why I said I can't say A for all the boys. I don't know. I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. I just don't know his system. I don't know where he's been proven a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McCarthy, you can say a lot of things about him, but he was guaranteed wins.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was guaranteed wins. So that, and I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan, but he gave us winning seasons. Shotty, you're coming in some big shoes, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Big expectations. A big division.
It's the Cowboys, man.
It's the Cowboys, man. Listen.
It's lights, camera, action.
I get it every year, brother. I get it every year. You're a Chicago Bears fan, but you don't go through the scrutiny that we go through. We have created this. Our owner has created this scrutiny, okay? Because all I hear you haven't won nothing in 30 years. 30 years. Okay. I mean,
they're right.
Yeah, but technically, who has won in 30 years? If you want to be technical, there's only one franchise has been dominant. Two of them actually been dominant in the last 30 years. That is New England, Kansas City. Throw a couple other teams to sprinkle in there, but that's where your chips been going. So we have the same problem that Name your champions outside of Kansas City and New England. You had who? Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
You had Tampa Bay. The Eagles.
Twice. Eagles won twice.
Okay.
I think what the sour point is, since you've won your last Super Bowl, 2 teams in your division have won twice. The Giants went to the Super Bowl 3 times and won twice.
Right.
And who am I missing? The Eagles, they went 3 times and won twice.
Right.
Since you've gone. So,
yeah, we're gonna get that because of the division. Because of the division success, the success of teams in our division. And we're just the most hated franchise, plain and simple.
And you're the most polarizing and the most loved. So
we are.
They're like the Yankees, but football.
Yeah.
The same thing. You got fans, Cowboy fans in every single state.
You're right about that, brother.
Including Delaware, where we live.
You're right about that, brother.
Maryland, which is right next to us, and including Pennsylvania, which is right next to us. Okay. And New Jersey and New York. You have Cowboy fans in every state. You have people that have got a heavy New York accent rooting for the Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
So that's part of it. They are the most hated, but they're also the most loved. They're the most polarizing. They're the only one with an owner that is the GM, so he can't fire himself. So they're unique. They're America's team. They got the star on the helmet.
Yes, sir.
They ask for the smoke. They ask for all the smoke every year. They don't go into a year saying this is a rebuilding year for us. They go into it saying, here's how we're going to win. This is why we're going to win.
And that's why I'm a fan. It's my mentality, bro. It's my mentality. I love all the smoke, man. I take it all, man. I take it all. You know what? Because the losers don't get the smoke. Jokers with loser mentality don't get smoke. You so used to losing that you're not even noticed. You're not even on nobody's radar. You're not even a problem. I like the problem. Bring the problem. I award the problem. That's my mentality. I like to win. Even if I ain't winning, I'm going to give it my best. Okay? So hate me, man. Hate me, love me, do what you want to do. But guess what? I am me, and my team is what it is. Stars, baby. Stars. You wish upon what? A star. So you need to start wishing upon the star. You know what I mean? Because now the star is going to show you in our division that we ain't just laying down to the defending champs. We're not laying down to Washington Redskins. And we're not going to lay down to the Giants, who I think that have got better. I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't mean to be offensive to all the Redskin people out there.
Oh, you did it again.
The Commanders. That name would never grow on me. But okay, the Commanders. We're not bound to knock down nobody in our division, okay?
You shouldn't.
We're not. Right now, Philly is a big dog.
On paper, you've gotten better.
Yeah, we have
a healthy Dak.
Yeah.
It's the best quarterback that Pickens has ever had.
Still got defense.
You got a good defensive end from Boston College in the draft.
Uberflus is not a bad defensive coordinator.
He's a pretty good defensive coordinator, right. Yes.
Right, so he got to be better than what we got out which I thought was just he was a good defense coordinator. I don't know what happened to him, man. Minnesota's ex-coach was our defense coordinator last year. He was terrible.
Oh, the Vikings ex-coach.
Yeah, Vikings head coach.
I know what you're talking about. Zimmer.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer. I don't know what happened to him because he was a great defensive coach.
He's pretty old, man. Some of these guys, they start to show their age. The thing with the NFL, you have to evolve. How the league will be this year is not how the league was 5 years ago.
I agree. Well, Pete Carroll's old.
And we're gonna see. Pete Carroll got let go from his last job. That was 2 years ago.
He did.
We're assuming that he is going to rejuvenate and he's going to do well with the Raiders, but we don't know that.
That's true.
We don't know that. I mean, let's be real. Let's be honest. Bill Belichick looks like he lost his fastball.
That's a fact.
All these people that are like greatest head coach ever, greatest NFL head coach ever. At worst, he's the second best. If you really think about it, you look at those last few years in New England.
Terrible.
Not so much.
Terrible. What about Andy Reid? He's old, ain't he?
But Andy Reid was just in a Super Bowl. Let's have Andy Reid have a losing season.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
before
because he's the most senior one out there right now, isn't he?
Right now he is. Pete Carroll is older than him, but Pete Carroll coming off of a year where he didn't coach.
Right. I mean, like active, like that was like actively prior to
active is Andy Reid.
Is Andy Reid, right? Because everybody else went young, right? For the most part.
Well, Seattle went young.
Yep.
He went young. Carolina went young. Chicago went young.
I mean, Sean Payton ain't no young dude, but he ain't old either.
Sean Payton, he's closer to old than he is
to young. Yeah.
He's got to be like late 50s.
Yeah, late 50s, early
60s, right around 60. So, but to your point, there's been a lot of guys, 40 and under, 50 and under, even Shoddy's in his early 50s. He's only like 51.
Okay.
Something like that, 51, 52. So he's not old. So, yeah, man. So what do you think? The schedule release comes out tomorrow night, but a few games have been leaked out already. You know that your Cowboys are going to kick off the NFL season against the reigning, defending Philadelphia Eagles, which we were both surprised about because we didn't think it'd be a divisional game.
Yeah.
Like I said, Dallas is going to get a good number no matter who they play. It almost feels like they're wasting it. Because Philly, to kick off the season, that was going to be a great number. Now you add Dallas to it. Maybe they're trying to get the highest rated, NFL kickoff game.
Right. Yeah, but
that's possible.
And you talking about division game that early, the first game.
That early.
The first game.
First game of the year.
Normally we'll have what? We'll have that. Normally we'll have that like that December game, right? Because normally we'll either play them towards the last game.
Well, always is strong. Usually, teams finish with divisional games in December.
Right.
They'll have like, that second game will be in December. So you'll have like 2 or 3 divisional games to end the year. So that means if that holds true. So they're going to play the Eagles week 1, and then what are they going to do? Play them, in mid-December or something like that?
I just don't. Like you said, so many other matches we could have done.
Detroit. Why didn't they do Detroit?
Right. Detroit. Because you did Green Bay last year, right? It was Green Bay and Philly last year.
Yeah, but that wasn't week 1. That was in Rio de Janeiro. The Friday. So
that was their first game.
They kicked off with Kansas City, and who did Kansas City play? I can't even remember now, but they won. Oh, Baltimore. It was Kansas City, Baltimore, and Isaiah Likely's toe was on the line.
Yep, it was, and then San Francisco played.
And the very next day was Eagles Packers in Brazil.
Got you. Yep.
Yeah. San Francisco week 1 played the Jets.
The Jets, the debacle of what that was going to be. Yeah,
I gotta say though, man, people are down on the Jets right now, but I love what they did with the offensive line. They stayed committed every year, drafting an offensive line. They got a good line now. They're going to be able to run that ball. I know you need the pass, and Justin Fields is up and down with the passing, but with those 2 running backs,
yes, sir.
Fields' ability to run and that offensive line.
Defense, they got the defense because you got
good defense. Coach. They got a defensive-minded head coach.
Don't be surprised about the Jets what they might do next year, man.
I think the Jets. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll be better than Miami.
Yeah, I do too. Miami gonna be in trouble, man. Miami, because one, they got an old unit. Um, Tyreek Hill don't want to be there, diva.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you're going through all that stuff. Tua is what he is. He's concussion prone.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is not going to be as great. When they lost Wilkins to the Las Vegas Raiders, that was a huge blow that they never was able to.
Wilkes, yeah, Christian.
Yeah, well, Christian Wilkes, my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Wilkes. They wasn't able to fill up that gap. Um, and then the secondary is not good. It's not going to be good because you got an old secondary.
Yeah, and Ramsey wants out of there.
Yeah, he wants out of there.
So they're already bad, and now Ramsey wants to leave.
Yeah, so I think it's between Buffalo. I think Buffalo's divisional win.
Patriots are getting better, but they're not ready.
They'll be better. They'll be better.
I think the Jets could come in second.
I do too.
But I don't think they make the playoffs.
But with Vrabel out there in New England, I won't be surprised New England made a strong push to be better.
They'll be better. Oh, they'll be better. They'll be better, but they're probably a year away from turning the corner. Right now you establish the culture. They drafted, and signed offensive linemen and things like that.
Yeah, Diggs out there.
They're probably a year away from, okay, now we got a shot.
Do you think Diggs will look right in New England, though?
He's coming off of an injury. He's in his 30s now. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm being New England.
Who's their other wide receiver they got?
What was it, Bourne?
No. Isn't he in Jacksonville?
Bourne went to Jacksonville?
Bourne.
Yeah, Bourne. Bourne was one of the receivers, and they had another one, sort of H. It was
I know they got Polk. He was last year from Washington. The Washington Huskies. I can't remember now. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't remember. I know that New England signings and draft picks and the head coach, they look a lot better. But to make that turn, to make a playoff push, I'm not sure they're ready for that year one. They're kind of in the same boat as the Bears. I love the Bears off season, starting with the coach, but they're last in their division. They finished a year where the other three teams are clearly better than they are.
Yeah, that's
and
fact.
I think New England might be in that same boat where the other teams were better than them. So they might make a jump, but they're gonna lose twice to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And
they'll probably split with the Jets.
Probably split with the Jets, probably split with Miami.
Yep.
So they're not ready just yet.
Yeah.
The Bears are going to be playing on Black Friday against Philadelphia. That got released. So we'll see the whole season tomorrow night, and we can chitty chat about it. But I think you guys got a shot. Real quick. When the team raises the banners and they get all that emotion out about being champ and stuff like that, It's hard to mentally be engaged that, we got a game that we got to play.
Yep.
That's the Cowboys on the other side of the field. And the Cowboys are watching all this and they'll be like, all right, you know what? Last year was last year. This is this year.
Yep. That's it, man. Sometimes it's a good motivational thing, man. Because especially if you have a good game, even if you lost game, it depends how you played the game. If you was competitive and it was a competitive game, it sets up your year. But if you go in there and you let the defending champs bust you down and take your spirit early, you're going to question what you're trying to do.
Right.
Shotty's going to get on that pole penny. Oh, we didn't play our best game and we're just trying to figure it out. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. I ain't want to hear
the Cowboys. The Cowboys got a roster that's ready to win.
You're right about that. We got a roster. So I don't want to hear about we trying to figure it out. No. Not with this roster, we're not.
Your team should be a double-digit victory team. They should be at worst 10 and 7.
10, yeah, exactly. I give us 10. I'm shooting maybe for 11, 12.
Maybe 11.
Yeah, 11. But anything below that, no.
No,
No. Unless we get
unacceptable.
injuries.
Not
Unless you
that roster,
no,
unacceptable.
unacceptable. Unless you get injuries, it happens. Injuries happen. But if you can keep that roster pretty much healthy, the key components healthy, man, there's no reason why you're not seeing 11 wins.
We are in agreement. All right, we'll finish up with WWE, and we got some wrestling, and we got some sad news.
Yeah, man.
The passing of a hardcore legend. That's right. That's me and the legendary Sabu. I got to tell you, I met him 2.5 years ago. I got a lot of pictures with a lot of big name guys, and I saw a bunch of big name guys there. I just ran out of money. The guy who was the cheapest was Sabu. The guy who was the nicest was Sabu. The guy who was most engaging was Sabu. You would never think that. I mean, he was even nicer to me than Mick Foley. And Mick Foley was really nice to me. Yep. I got a picture with Orange Cassidy. I got a picture with JBL, Ron Simmons.
Wow.
Bret Hart was there. I met Jimmy Hart. I met Buff Bagwell. Radio host from Sirius Radio, Busted Open, Dave LaGreca was there. Dean Malenko, X-Pac. There was a lot. Molly Holly.
How was JBL?
JBL was real nice. I got a picture with him and Ron Simmons. I'll send it to you later. Him and Ron Simmons. Yeah, they were nice. The only one that was not great because he was just quiet. He didn't say anything to me. Was Orange Cassidy.
Oh, okay.
He was the only one. He was just quiet and took the picture and kind of did his little thing, that symbol thing that he does. But got to see a lot. Got some pictures. But yeah, Sabu, it was the cheapest, $20. 20, and he told me, he's like, I'm not going to charge you more than that. I'm not going to charge you more than that. You can save your money for, taking it. Because I told him I was about to go online for Mick Foley. And he said, when I get to the front of the line, to tell Mick hi for him. Tell Mick hi for him. He was so nice. So you look at him and you would just think that he would be a grouch.
Right.
Body was like all like mangled and beat up. You could see it in his hands. It looked like he had arthritis on top of arthritis.
Man.
But he was living in pain. He was addicted to pain medication. Nobody knows right now. His cause of death has not been revealed. He just had his retirement match a month ago. 60 years old. So I'll do his thing. He would point up to the sky. Sabu, you one of the real ones, Sabu, and thank you. That was my first WrestleCon I ever went to, was in Baltimore. I went by myself, and that was the guy that I have the nicest things to say about.
That's what's up, man.
It's the nicest things to say.
Rest in peace, Sabu, man.
Yeah, so R.I.P. Sabu. Backlash was meh, so it's not really worth talking about.
Yeah, about that, brother.
And we got to figure out who the third man's going to be with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. They're gonna have to have a third man. So I thought it was going to be Becky Lynch, but I don't think it is now, because there's 3 guys that they would have to wrestle, and they're not going to let Becky Lynch be the third man for that. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to talk more about that next week and try and figure out who the third man is going to be. So that is going to do it for our show. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to the What's Good with Gil and Larry podcast on the Box Office Buzz 302 channel. You can catch us next Tuesday at 9:30. Don't forget to check out Matt's Monday reviews on Monday. Sometimes we put it out on Tuesdays, but he records them on Monday. So keep an eye out for that. So for my main man, Larry Loper, I am Gil Larry. Enjoy the games, the playoffs, and we're going to talk about it next week. Deuces, y'all.
My man.